Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Founders Friday. That's what our message on Friday is when we go live on Facebook on Fridays. So I'm Deshelle Gray. I'm one of the owners of Sukavu. So I was excited to get on here today and talk to you and share a message with you and just see how everybody's doing. Happy Friday, happy Valentine's Day. I know that was last week, or earlier this week, but happy Valentine's for all that. Hope everybody has felt loved and cherished and appreciated this week. So something happened this week. Maybe some of you know this, that if any of you have heard of Gail Halvorson. And Gail Halvorson was known as the candy bomber or the chocolate flyer during World War II. And he was over in Germany in 1948. And he's significant to me. Years ago, here in Utah, up in northern Utah, is Hill Air Force Base. And they've got this amazing museum that has tons of old airplanes and stories. And there was this whole section dedicated to Gail Halvorson, this candy bomber. And that was really the first time I had heard of him. I didn't know anything about it. And I had my kids with me at the time. It was years ago. And it just really impacted me, his impact that he had on the Germans when he was over there during World War II. And so if you don't know, he was a part of he was a pilot, and he was a part of dropping off the supplies and getting food to the starving cities that had been cut off, due to the war. And so they were doing the airlift project. And so he would load up, the food and take it over to where he was going, and it would drop down. Well, one day he was off and he was just out filming, watching the planes take off and drop off, take off and land. Let me use my words, take off and land. And he was filming it, and he saw that there were about 30 kids that would line up along the fences and watch these planes take off and land. And he went over and he talked to them, and, these kids had nothing. They're in war-torn Germany. They'd been through so much, these young kids. And he happened to have 2 sticks of gum on him, and he broke them up and he shared the gum and tried to give everybody a little piece. And, obviously not everybody could get some because he had 2 pieces of gum. And it even says, like, when you read about it, that the kids that didn't get the gum, they took the wrappers, and just smelling that sweet smell of a gum wrapper was enough to satisfy them. And, he was really touched. And so he told the kids, he's like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to drop off. I'm going to have enough gum for all of you. And so he went back and he took his rations and went and bought a bunch of gum. And because he didn't want anybody to get hurt, obviously, with dropping candy or any supplies out, he attached little handkerchiefs to them. So he created these parachutes. And what was really cool, these kids, this was super cute too. They were like, well, how are we going to know it's you? How are we going to know it's your plane that's coming? And he said, I'm going to wiggle my wings. And I loved that. I love that idea that, here's this plane taking off, and they just watch him, and he just wiggles his wings and then drops the candy down to him. And if you know the story, it grew. It just, once a week they were dropping candy. He started collecting candy and money and handkerchiefs from his fellow soldiers, and it kind of went to a squadron, and then just it blossomed, like it exploded. And people over in the United States were collecting funds and making chocolates and sending it over to them. And so it started once a week, and then it changed to every other day they were dropping candy. And these kids, it just grew and grew and grew. And these kids, for just a moment, had that opportunity to forget the craziness of the war and get a sweet treat and have that blessing in their life. And I bring all this up because he just recently died. He died 2 days ago, Gail Halvorson, and he was 101 years old. And he still continued to be active and serve and touch people's lives. But just imagine being that person when you think, I'm not making such a great impact. Here he is over in Germany, where there were hundreds of thousands, millions of people who'd been affected by the war. And he's trying to make an impact in just a small portion of the population and trying to give a little hope to these kids. And so that's I love the story that he was willing to do it. You know, sometimes we think our impact isn't going to be big enough. And so that might paralyze us from taking any steps at all, because we feel like if we can't do it all, then why even bother? And that's not the case, right? A small gesture, a small impact on our part, a small effort on our part can have such a huge effect on somebody else. And so I love that story of the Candy Bomber and Gail Halvorson, and he's just such a cool guy that he did that. And so hearing that he died at 101, you know, after such an amazing life of serving, really just made me think of what's my impact on people around me. What am I doing that is a small effort? Sometimes it's a bigger effort, but, you know, really just a small effort that can impact and have a big impact on those around me. And we don't know. So it's important to just be kind and do good things so that we can have some sort of impact on those around us. So that's my challenge to you this weekend. I want you to think of somebody, or what small way are you making an impact on those around you? Is that helping somebody live a healthier life? Is that helping somebody just see hope in the world, that there's good things out there? And it's been a tough couple of years, right? And we want to see that there's still some hope and goodness out there, and different things have happened. I think over COVID, we've seen the best of people and we've seen the worst of people. And hopefully as we're coming out of this and we're all doing a little bit better and feeling a little bit more optimistic that, you know, we're more good is going to come out of this than the bad. And we can get these challenges to pull out the best of us. So that's my challenge. I want you to just think about your impact. Think about what small things can you do to make a big impact on those people around you? Who's within your circle that needs you, that needs your love, your support, your kindness, and then act on that. Listen for those moments, for those opportunities, those directions that might come to you, and be open and aware of those things that are happening around you, and then act on them. And when we do that, just these small efforts can have just such a huge impact. You know, this small thing that was happening over in Germany with the Candy Bomber, with Gail Halvorson doing this, made such a huge impact on so many people, even over here in the United States, because they were participating and helping and contributing, and that made them feel better too. And it's just a great story. You know, read up on him. He's amazing, the Candy Bomber. And they even called him, I think they called him Uncle Wiggly Wings. That's what the kids would call him, because they would watch his wings wiggle before he dropped all the candy. He ended up doing like 23 tons of candy is what was dropped, and 250,000 parachutes in about a 9-month time span is really what they did it for. And so, I mean, just imagine that impact. Imagine those kids, you know, having nothing and then getting something. It's just an amazing thing. So that's my challenge to you. Thank you for tuning in. Have an amazing weekend. We love you guys here at Sukabu. We are working our brains out, trying to just make the best products, create the best company, create the best avenue and opportunity for any of us to find a way to have an impact in our own lives, have an impact on other people's lives. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We are so grateful for you and your influence on us. And you know, we love you. So thanks for letting us do this. Appreciate you all. Have a great weekend and go out, inspire somebody, touch somebody's life, make an impact. Bye, everybody.